Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajayacharya. Astotra Shashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Iskcon BBD Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Iskcon Guru Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Guru Parampara ki Jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Nitai Gopremanande. Hare Krishna. Isn't it a bit too warm? Oh. We are very warm-hearted. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, Conversation between Narad and Vyasadeva, verse number 1. So very nice to see that we are progressing in the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the last chapter was Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam. And yesterday we were just discussing about pure devotional service. So Narada's instruction is basically on pure devotional service. So today we see the conversation between Narad and Vyasadeva. And another very, very important chapter, in a way, how we as devotees should conduct our life. Or like Srila Prabhupada sometimes says, that sometimes we have very absurd inquiries. Inquiries about things that we need not know, does not make a difference to us, or does not make a difference in the spiritual life. So sometimes we question about those things. So here we learn from the Bhagavatam perspective that what our conversation should be about. So we recite the verse, chapter 6, text 1, SB 161. Sutta vacha evam nisamya bhagavan devarishe janma karma cha bhuyah apapracha tam brahman vyasah Satyavati Sutta Sutavacha Evam Nisamya Bhagavan Devarishe Janma Karmacha Bhuya Papracha Tam Brahman Vyasah Satyavati Sutta Sutavacha Evam Nisamya Bhagavan देव ऋषिर्जन्म कर्म च भूया पप्रच्छ तं भ्रमन् व्यासः सत्यवती सुतः। Repeat, please. सुतवाच एवं निशम्य भगवान् देव ऋषि जन्म कर्म च भूया प्रपच्छ तं भ्रमन् Anybody else? Ladies. Sutavacha evam nishamya bhagavan deva rishi janma karma cha bhuya prapachatam brahman vyasa satyavati sutta. Sutavacha, Sut said, evam, thus, nisamya, hearing, Bhagavan, the powerful incarnation of God, Devarishi, of the great sage among the gods, Janma, birth, Karma, work, cha, and bhuyaha, again, papracha, ask, tam, him, Brahman, O Brahmanas, Vyasaha, Vyasadev, Satyavati Sutaha, the son of Satyavati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, thus hearing all about Sri Narada's birth and activities, Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God and son of Satyavati, inquired as follows. Vyasadeva was further inquisitive to know about the perfection of Naradji, and therefore he wanted to know about him more and more. In this chapter, Naradji will describe how he was able to have a brief audience with the Lord while he was absorbed in transcendental thought of separation from the Lord, and when it was very painful for him. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Tamal Krishna Goswami Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasadhishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna. So, आज का जो भागवत श्लोक है, ये 6वां अध्याय जो है उसका शुरुआत है, और इसमें सुत गोस्वामी जी कहते हैं कि हे ब्राह्मण, जो सुत गोस्वामी जी स्पीकिंग टू शौनक आदि ऋषिस, तो बोला कि जब व्यास देव जी ने नारद जी के जन्म और कर्म, उनका जन्म जो है और उनका जो एक्टिविटीज है उसके बारे में सुना, व्यासदेव द इनकारनेशन ऑफ गॉड, जैसे हम लोग हरदम भागवतम पढ़ते हैं या कथा सुनते हैं, तो वी ऑलवेज एक्नॉलेज कि भगवान ग्रंथों के माध्यम से हम लोगों को शिक्षित करना चाहते हैं कि व्हाट आर ऑर्डिनरी कंडीशन। तो यहाँ पे वेद व्यास जी सेटिस्फाइड नहीं थे, मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में हम लोग भी सेटिस्फाइड नहीं रहते हैं, तो हम लोग सीखते हैं कि सीक शेल्टर ऑफ अ गुरु। तो यहाँ पे मतलब जो एडिशनल वर्ड्स बताते हैं ना, उसको क्या कहते हैं अंग्रेजी में, एक शब्द आता है, एक वर्ड आता है, तो जब वेद उसको कहते हैं व्यास देव, द इनकारनेशन ऑफ गॉड, तो उसका जो महत्व है वो बढ़ता है। तो उस महत्व को बढ़ाते हुए कि व्यास देव जी जो इनकारनेशन थे भगवान के, वो भी जब नारद जी के जन्म और एक्टिविटीज के बारे में सुने तो उन्होंने फिर और इंक्वायर किया। ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वी मस्ट इंक्वायर। कभी कभी क्या होता है, व्हाट एवर इट बी, सुमुखा प्रभु मुझे कल रात को प्रोग्राम में बोला, ही वाज ट्राइंग टू स्केयर मी व्हेन आई एम स्केयर्ड, सुमुखा प्रभु बोल रहे थे, आपको लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस टू आस्क यू। तो एक्चुअली मैं प्रभुपाद जी कहते, मैंने कहा, सुमुखा प्रभु कहा, लेट मी नो द क्वेश्चन सो दैट आई कैन प्रिपेयर द आंसर्स। सुमुखा बोले, नो नो नो, बोले you come prepared. So if you don't tell me the questions, how do I prepare? So then he gave me the book, and I went through the book of his questions. But I didn't see the questions because I said, I don't want to kill his enthusiasm, his excitement. So the point is that we must inquire. It's like Sumukha Prabhu always hears he has a question to ask. No question is a stupid question. Every question has some learning, some lessons. So Naradji, Vyasji again is inquiring further. So Prabhupada is writing that further inquisitive. How do you know that somebody wants to progress in Krishna consciousness? They become inquisitive further. The whole Bhagavatam is when Parikshit Maharaj was asking, then Sukadeva Goswami was speaking. Then after hearing, then Parikshit Maharaj was saying, I want to hear about this too. Can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about this? What should dying men do? What should this person do? Like that. So then Sukadeva Goswami spoke the whole Bhagavatam, recited the whole Bhagavatam. And in today's times we see that basically people don't inquire. People don't inquire. And if people don't inquire, it does not mean they are not thinking. They are thinking. But if you don't inquire, you don't know whether you are speculating or you are genuinely understanding the knowledge. That's why inquiry is important. ऐसे नहीं कि कोई पागल है, कोई सोचता ही नहीं है। सब लोग सोचते हैं, मने मन में खिचड़ी बनाते हैं, फिर जो भी समझ में आ जाता है बस उसी के। तो यहाँ पर वेद व्यास जी सिखलाते हैं कि मन में चलना चाहिए, लेकिन उसके बाद में इंक्वायरी होना चाहिए। मस्ट आस्क समवन whether inquisitive to know about the। और फिर another good point मैं सोच रहा था, प्रभु जी अच्छा लिखा कि what was he inquisitive about? To know the perfection of Narad ji. You don't become inquisitive about knowing the faults of others. You want to become inquisitive about I want to become inquisitive about how is Sumukha Prabhu able to do 5 days of deity worship, morning and evening, whole week. There must be something, whether he is following the instructions of his guru, whether he is completely in love with the deities, is in prema bhakti level, or he could be really understood that I need to be purified and this is the way my mind and senses can be controlled, and therefore he has made a fully conscious and fully aware decision, choice to make that commitment to serve the deity so that his mind and heart is fixed in Krishna. So, it's an example, and again, we try and find out, how is this person doing this thing. So, Vedvyas wants to know more about Naradji's perfection, and therefore he wanted to know about him more and more. So, again, Prabhupada mentions that Naradji will then describe his brief audience with the Lord. Sometimes we do service, we are practicing Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, you chant a few rounds, that is very, very, you feel you are in the holy name. You're with the holy name, you're with Krishna, you can experience Krishna in the chanting. But then other times, it's like, it's so dry, so boring, I'm just struggling to finish my 16 rounds. The whole idea is, the same experience Naradji went through. So Naradji is going to describe how he had an audience with the Lord and then he disappeared. So what the result should be? If you had gotten a little taste of Krishna consciousness, the idea is Krishna wants, Guru wants you to then aspire for more. Just like when you're having prasadam, Rashmi makes the salad. So I just like to take a little bit. Oh, this is nice. Give me some more. Krishna consciousness is like that. So Krishna gives you that you get the service of the deities or you Harinam or anything, book distribution. You distribute one Bhagavad Gita, you become very enthusiastic. So you find out more about it. And while he was absorbed in transcendental thought of separation, again, when does Krishna give you a little darshan? When you are absorbed in the thought of separation. And when it was very painful for him. The gopis are in the state of separation. The gopis are constantly pained. They are pained about not being able to see Krishna. And today the Shastras say, or always the Shastras and even Krishna says, that Krishna takes the dust of the feet of the gopis and puts it on his head. Just like yesterday we were reading about Jayadev Goswami. Jayadev Goswami could not write, that Krishna falls at the feet of Radharani. This is, why is that state of Krishna's falling at the feet of the devotees? Sometimes we should be feeling separation and painful. Just like look at Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was genuinely pained at the suffering of the conditioned soul. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya was genuinely pained. He was feeling the pain. We don't feel others' pain. But a devotee, Vaishnava, para dukha, dukhi. He feels the pain of others. So here, Naraji got darshan of Krishna because he was feeling separation and he was pain. So Vedvyas is saying, Vyasadeva is saying, Vyaso vacha bhikshubhir vipravashite vijnana destri bhistava vartamano yashyadye tataha kim akarot bhavan. See, Vyasadeva said, what did you do, Narad, after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in the scientific transcendental knowledge before the beginning of your present birth? Very careful choice of words. Vyasdev and Prabhupada translates it with the choices of the words. Vyasdev said, what did you do? What did you do? आपने क्या किया? कब? After the departure of the great sages. जब भक्त लोग चले जाते, कि सत्संग में हम लोग हैं तो हम लोग अपन माइंड भगवान में रख सकते हैं, बहुत अच्छे से अपने आप को प्रस्तुत कर सकते हैं कि आई एम अ वेरी नाइस डिवोटी. But really, it is when you are not with the devotees. What are you doing? You don't know, you don't measure your level of Krishna consciousness. आप अपना कृष्ण भक्ति का माप भक्तों के संग में रह के नहीं नाप पाएंगे. जब संग नहीं होगा तब आप क्या कर रहे हैं, तब पता लगता है कि the depth of your Krishna consciousness. If you are in absence and Krishna is now, you're not in the temple, you're not with the devotees, and then all the mischievous things go through your mind and you start acting, then you should know that's the depth of your Krishna consciousness. तो बोला कि after the departure of the great sages, मेरे हरदम भक्त लोग बोलते हैं प्रोग्राम खलास हो जाता है, प्रसाद हो जाता है, टेकवे पैक हो जाता है, फिर हर डिसअपियर. उस कथा श्रवण करने का, वो जप करने का, वो प्रसाद पाने का भाव जो है, जो लर्निंग्स है, वो पता लगता है when everyone else is. So there are few people who are then serving. So that means you are making genuine spiritual progress. This week I was listening to Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Gopal Krishna Maharaj said, your love for Krishna is shown by your service to Krishna. If you love Krishna, you have to serve him. You cannot say, I love Krishna. I say, I love you, Sumukha, but I don't give you a glass of water. I don't want to serve you. I don't want to offer you a seat. And I don't want to do things that is pleasing to you. So there is no sign of love. So this week also I was having a conversation with Krishna Maharaj and we were talking that, the only fix to all the problems of this world, the fix to the problems of devotees' lives, all the fix for the problems of the organization or the society or the community or the mandali or groups or gatherings or whatever you call it. The only fix of everything is Harinam, book distribution, prasadam distribution, and the sadhana of the devotee. What is the sadhana of the devotee? Chanting japa, reading Prabhupada's books, and serving the devotee. So when we say sadhana, sadhana means chanting Hare Krishna, studying Prabhupada's books, and serving the devotee. When we expand your sadhana, it becomes book distribution, prasadam distribution, and Harinam Sankirtan. If you in summary you see, this is the whole Iskcon movement. And wherever you follow this properly, just like it says, you chant one Shuddha Naam, you get Krishna Prem. So we are not at the state of chanting Shuddha Naam at this point in time. Some of you may be, but definitely I can say for myself, I am not. Then how do I engage in Krishna Seva? Or how do I become a Pakka devotee? I must focus on my sadhana and the 3 ways of preaching Krishna consciousness. All that we need to do. And that will propel, this will excel our progress in spiritual life. That's why yesterday we were discussing the point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Prakashananda Saraswati that Guru Mora Murkha Dekhi Kori Ashashan. So Guru is seeing us, that we are fools. Therefore he has taken charge. I was also thinking, I was coming this morning here, I was thinking that some of us are thinking I will wait for initiation. Some of us are thinking, this is a mindset, this is, let's be frank about it. Some people think, Prabhupada is the only guru because, after that, really the point is, कोई भी पेड़ है, उसका judgment जो होता है कि कितना अच्छा पेड़ है, उसके फल से. So all of us sitting here, we are the fruits of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, we are the fruits of Ved Krishna Maharaj, we are the fruits of Ved Vyas Maharaj, we are the fruits of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So the quality of fruit we are, that gives the reflection of the Prabhupada is Jagat Guru. When Prabhupada was in India, when he was Abhay Babu, when he was Abhay Charan, who knew Prabhupada's glory? If the whole world knows Prabhupada's glory, what Prabhupada has done, who have we known from Prabhupada's glory? From Prabhupada's disciples. If Prabhupada's disciples were not up to standard, where would we get all Prabhupada's letters? Where would we get all Prabhupada's lectures? Where would we even get this? Prabhupada translated the Bhagavad Gita, it got stolen in US. Video clips, Prabhupada's conversation, morning works, everything. So the point is, we all have to think about it and rise. If you don't rise, sometimes, I'm thinking, sometimes we might feel, that Ritvikism is not the right way to go. But you can't blame people for believing in it, because if the disciplic succession is correct, then we as disciples may not be behaving properly, and therefore people don't get faith that the disciplic succession works. You get my point? So we need to focus on the process. All the gurus in Iskcon or Maharajas in Iskcon or Iskcon preachers, Iskcon devotees, we don't need to manufacture anything new. We just have to get people to better their sadhana, which is reading and chanting, and then of course engage everyone in book distribution, prasad distribution, and Harinam Sankirtan, and everything will fall into its place. This thing does not require some material intelligence to fix the problem. I was just thinking today also, whilst coming, that so many of us, we find it difficult. We find it difficult to give a commitment to the program. I was just thinking, every morning, When it's something like, we have to go to work because we will be getting money, so we all wake up. We all wake up and run, despite all the challenges. But when it comes to spiritual life, it's not a priority. So therefore, when we will wake up, then we will wake up. When we will find time to chant, then we will chant. When we will find time to read, then we will read. So if you set this as a goal, Prabhu gave me that. He said, today we'll start with chapter 6 and verse 1. So I feel very nice that, we have set a goal that we'll read the Bhagavatam, and we have completed up to Canto 1, chapter 5. So we make an effort to make the progress. So similarly, in our personal life, we have to make an effort to. So after the departure of the great sages, who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge. Again, Prabhupada is very carefully fencing everything. Bhakti is not a bhavuk thing. That today, I become very enthusiastic, I get the deities, I start worshipping, and 2 years down the line, the deities become a showpiece on the sideboard in the house. The altar becomes a sideboard. It's no longer a place of activity. For now, the altar is place of activity. We offer our food, we do flowers, we do dressing, we do garlands, we do everything. So, that's where our focus is. Krishna is there. Then after some years, the altar just becomes a showcase. It's a scientific transcendental knowledge. It's a divya gyan. Gyan, that knowledge means we start living it. Before the beginning of your present birth. So this birth is okay. He is Narad. So the interesting thing to find out is, when the sages left, till he got this next life, what happened in between? Vyasadeva himself was the disciple of Naradji, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what Narad did after initiation from the spiritual masters. Find out what happened after initiation. What did you? Again, interesting point. He wanted to know what happened after initiation. So after initiation, there's two ways to look at it. We just want to see what happened. Prabhupada is writing, he wanted to know here what Narad did after initiation. It is very interesting. Oh, I saw that devotee take initiation, but after initiation, it disappeared. It's fun. We want to know, what did you do after initiation? Don't even also set your goal that I want to become initiated. Some Guru Maharaj comes and we say, okay, I want to get initiated too. Why do you want to get initiated? Because everyone in the temple is initiated. What did you do? Initiation means to begin. Are you reading the books? Are you chanting? Are you serving? What did you do? Like so many people, the other day, myself and Siddhanta Prabhu, when we were discussing, Maharaj met Siddhanta Prabhu and said, Siddhanta Prabhu, when are you taking second initiation? So then you basically take it as an indication that Guru Maharaj is meant to motivate us, inspire us. So when he said, when are you going to take second initiation? So we became inspired to take second initiation. But it's not simply a process of offering you a list of mantras and some thread over your shoulder. What did you do after second initiation? Like Prabhu comes and does seva here. Take some responsibility to do. You take first initiation. So it's both ways. You take first initiation, you should take initiation. That's one point. And then after taking initiation, don't think it's complete. I'm initiated devotee now. Now I also have a say because I'm an initiated devotee. You only derive your power, you only derive your say is if we know what are you doing. Then only your instruction will. If Naradji said to Vyasadevji, you write about pure devotion, that's what you have not done. So Vyasadevji is asking, what did you do? I can say, Sumukha, you can chant, you should chant very nicely, you can do like this. But I'm not chanting my rounds. I'm not studying the books. It will not motivate. He wants to know. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yad Yad Acharti Shastra. Whatever the leader, great person will do, common man will follow. By Achar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Achar and then Prachar. Prachar doesn't mean sitting here on the Vyasasana and speaking. Prachar means, even you are, some devotees, going somewhere, then you take off your kanti mala and, you hide your kanti mala and that's Prachar. That's Prachar. So somebody knows, this is what the devotees do. Bhagavad Gita is saying, we are not this body. And then you come here, with nice dhoti, nice everything, and then, then you go somewhere else, almost half naked, it's bad prachar. They say, I'm not this body, but you have to show the body like that. You must live the knowledge. Then you make genuine progress. We must feel. In the recent times, I'm just thinking, I had never expected that, the time I joined Krishna Bhakti process and to now, that I will be able to experience these things in the material world. I thought it was all written in the Bhagavatam and I will actually die before all these things start happening. So, I'm very safe, I'm in Krishna conscious zone, and attaining Krishna consciousness, this is perfect. But the world is deteriorating so fast. If the world is deteriorating, अगर दुनिया इतना रफ्तार से बर्बाद हो रहा है, तो उसके मतलब है उतने रफ्तार से अपन आपकी बचाए पड़ेगी नहीं तो हम लोग भी बर्बाद हो जाएंगे, हमारी जनरेशन बर्बाद हो जाएंगे. So we have to take practical things to do. Also, one devotee called me from another temple, another place this week. They were discussing, Prabhuji, this is what's happening. The devotees are doing this. No one comes to the program. People are getting slack on their chanting, this, that. What is the root cause of, getting slack in Krishna consciousness? And, others are here. Prabhu is here. Others can add as well. From my perspective, I think, the most negative impact that one has in their own life is that of what you eat. That of what you eat. As soon as you start eating non-devotee food, non-devotee food means non-prasad, then the mind starts becoming wicked. Mind will start losing interest in reading. The mind will start losing interest in chanting. The mind will lose interest in being with the devotees. Mahaprabhu's movement is saving the conditioned soul. So at least our free will, one thing that we all have is free will. So free will has to be that I want to commit to Krishna consciousness. In whatever little way you can do. I'm not saying everyone has to become a leader, everyone has to become a book distributor like Rukmani Mohan Prabhu, distribute so many books. Not everyone can do like Rashmi or other devotees. But if nothing else, Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, that the spiritual master takes the responsibility of taking the disciple back home, back to Godhead. And Maharaj said, I take this responsibility very seriously. Therefore, you as a disciple should take your responsibility of a disciple very seriously. We need to discuss all these things. We need to talk about these things because, if we don't, then our mind will gradually go into the fluffy things. Just like, one example, I say, basically, when I sometimes go into home programs or whatever, then the host is telling me, Prabhuji give class on this thing, tell this story, tell this story, tell this story, tell about this person as well, tell about this person. I'm thinking, mind you, can you give the class yourself? Maybe you should give the class yourself. When you want to hear, then the process is, you can say, like Parikshit Maharaj said, tell me about Krishna. Tell me about how, this thing happens. This is genuine inquiry. But if you know everything, then, you want to, let's not want to simply hear the things that please us. Parikshit Maharaj's question is, what should a dying man do? He's not telling, please tell me that the dying man should be doing some charity. That's not an inquiry. You already know the answer. You are telling me to tell me about this thing. So you just want someone to reconfirm what you are. That's not the way of surrender. Surrender to Prabhupada. Listen to what Prabhupada is saying. Pray to Krishna. Pray to Krishna. Krishna, whatever you feel is correct, let it be revealed to me through the devotees. To my Guru, to Srila Prabhupada. So then, what Narad did after initiation from the spiritual masters? He wanted to follow in Narad's footsteps in order to attain the same perfect stage of life. If you want to get the same result, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Gopi Bhartir Padakamalayar, Das Das Anudas. If you follow in the footsteps of the gopis, what is the footsteps of the gopis? Das Das Anudas. The Manjaris are saving, the gopis are saving Srimati Radharani, and Radharani is saving Krishna. We recently celebrated the Tulsi Vivah. So one of the pastimes from Golok Vrindavan Dham is, Radharani was very pleased with the service of Vrinda Devi. And therefore Radharani herself organized all the gopis, to set up a Ratana Singhasan, and got Krishna and Vrinda Devi sit on the asana and celebrated it. So Radharani will ultimately give you the perfection. But here, Prabhupada is saying we have to follow in the footsteps. So Vyasadeva is wanting to know about Narad, what Narad did after initiation, so that Narad, because today Narad is standing before Vyasadeva and enlightening him, giving him guidance, what is to be done. He's talking about pure devotional service. So Vyasadeva wants to know, what did you do so that you got to that stage? Because I want to get to that stage as well. I'm not saying you become Prabhupada, but you see what Prabhupada did. You don't become your Guru, but you see what Gurudev, you look at Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So the question should be, what did he do? You read 7 of the 7, and then you see his whole life of dedication to the service of Srila Prabhupada. You read Prabhupada's biography, you will see the whole life of dedication of Prabhupada to Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And that is the process of disciplic succession and the ultimate perfection of Krishna consciousness. The desire to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. It is an essential factor for progress. If you don't ask, there's not going to be progress. You only ask when you feel there's a lacking. If you are perfect, you need to ask. I know it. I know it. So we need to ask. This process is technically known as Sadharma Priksha. So Prabhupada is saying this is Sadharma Priksha. So of the 2 verses, I think when I read the whole chapter, trying to see, but I limit myself because Sumukha said, we have a lot of questions. So in today's, my take from today's discussion or today's reading was basically that here Narad is being asked by Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva really wants to know. And Prabhupada hammers the point that Vyasadeva wants the same stage of perfection as his Guru Naradji. And that's why he wants to know, he come to know how Naradji came to Krishna consciousness, but what he did after that, what was the process to perfection, that's what Vyasadeva is wanting to know. Okay? So anybody like to give any comment or question?
Look at the background. Narad communication background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Narad communication.
Yeah.
Who did you take Krishna from? And when is this happening with that with you are?
No, I think Prabhupada mentioned it here. He wanted to follow in the, Vyasadeva himself was a disciple of Naradji, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what Narad did after initiation from the spiritual masters. See, sometimes we also have a defective process in a way in the disciple's mind that we think only when we sit at the fire sacrifice and accept a student, that's your spiritual master, that's initiation. Initiation, if only that was initiation, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita would not mention about Marg Pradarshak Guru and the Siksha Guru and the Chaitya Guru in the heart. Diksha Guru is accepting a external spiritual master, who the Chaitya Guru manifests in the form of the spiritual master. But then the process can become defective if we just think, Amar Guru, Jagat Guru, and there's no one else. So that's why Prabhupada has very nicely said here that what did Narad do after initiation? I'm sure, we all know that what is the disciplic succession? Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narad. So, from your question, I'm trying to visualize that you are trying to visualize the initiation ceremony where Naradji was, Naradji was sitting there. The Siksha is the initiation. Even I was, very interestingly, Bhanu Maharaj in our society, Maharaj does all this GBC, Shastric advisory work he does. So he does a lot of research and everything. So somebody asked Maharaj, how did this initiation ceremony, the fire yajna and all this start? So Maharaj said this was started by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, why? Why was this done? I remember when my grandmother, my Naniji, got initiated. So she lives in Canada. So, she wanted to get initiated by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And Srila Gurudev said that I don't go to Canada. So she better take shelter of, Gopal Krishna Maharaj or someone. So because she was practicing, she was following everything. The way Tamal Krishna Maharaj always wanted Fiji to, do it. Your 1 year of practice, your exams and all these things. So she was doing like that. So we told Srila Gurudev, and Gurudev said, because I don't go there, it's safer she takes initiation there. So I remember when Gopal Krishna Maharaj found out, when she approached Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, take initiation from you. And Maharaj found out that if somebody meets Tamal Krishna Maharaj, standard means, is very high standard. So then Maharaj was leaving actually when he found out. So he was taking a flight. So at the airport, Maharaj chanted on the beads and gave it to my grandmother and gave her spiritual name. In those days we said, what? How is this initiation? Just making the initiation cheap, this, that, new devotees, so we think like that. Then, so when I read this research paper and I was hearing Bhanu Maharaj, then Bhanu Maharaj said, this thing is done, it came into practice to create affiliation and loyalty. Because in Kali Yuga, this is like that, when you're sitting before the fire, you're doing some swaha and all these things, then you feel, okay, I'm connected, getting connected. But then you also see so many people, they follow Prabhupada's Siksha, they are so empowered, they empowered book distributors, they're making spiritual progress, all these things. Even if you look at disciplic succession, the spiritual master of Bhaktivinoda Thakur was initiated by Bipin Bihari. But we see the Siksha Pranali on the altar. You see, when we're talking about Guru Parampara, we are talking about the Siksha Pranali. So real Diksha is when you accept the Siksha. So here, Prabhupada himself mentions that Naradji took, after his initiation from the spiritual master, because Naradji was in Dasiputra, he was serving in that ashram. No, this is the scenario. Prabhupada mentions that's the scenario in the Prabhupada. Yes. That's why this chapter will then now describe when his mother, went for milking and then she passed away. Then he was there. Then Lord gave him darshan. So that's the context here. If there's anything else, Ramana Prabhu, there's another perspective to it. He was asking, Sumaka Prabhu is asking question, when did Narad get initiated? So I said from the purport, it's very clear here. Prabhupada says, anxious that what Narad did after initiation from the spiritual master. So when Narad was in the previous life, when he heard that mother passed away, then that was the time. Yes. Yeah. And then Narad also, another point. Narad himself confirms that because he was describing that. And then now, when you go further into this chapter, that is further Narad is going to say, what I did, what the sadhu said, yes, that was previous life, initiation from previous life. Next.
Next question is, you said, what is now we can get Krishna?
What? Yeah, one Shuddhnam you can get Krishna Prem.
What is
Shuddhnam is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For our context, I really am not a pure devotee that I am chanting Shuddhnam. But my understanding from the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, Shuddhnam will be avoiding the 10 offenses. Yeah. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given as the Shishtastakam. The Hare Krishna mantra, the Shishtastakam sets the mood of chanting. And then Mahaprabhu says, Bahu janma kare yadi savana kirtan tabhutana pai Krishna padapram. Then he gives the 10 offenses to the Holy. So I think in our context, in today's world, in Kali Yuga, अभी Kali Yuga के समय में अगर हम लोग खाली भगवान के नाम चयन करेंगे, शिष्टास्तक का भाव रखेंगे जप में और 10 नाम अपराध को अवॉइड करेंगे, there will be शुद्ध नाम. From my perspective, हरिनाम चिंतामणि तो और ढेर डिटेल बताता है. I don't see any time in the very near future that I can start envisioning, Krishna pastimes. Yes, Ramjan.
And Bhakti Vedanta is very knowledge that inspires me to taste for the Lord.
This Prabhu is responding to the first question. Yeah. So Bhakti Vedanta gave him the. So when we associate with devotees, when we read Prabhupada's book, then your heart will also want to know more. Then you might take initiation from a spiritual master, and then this desire to learn more does not arise. Then you can say effectively the initiation has not taken place. For Narad Muni, Bhakti Vedantas, they motivated his heart to. Yeah. Sometimes the student may not be serious. Sometimes the student may not be serious, but that's where the association will help you make serious. That's why the association of devotees should, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we should search for real Vaishnavas to associate with them, because in association of Bhaktivedanta or association of real devotees, then you also develop the desire. When there is real fire happening, you join that, there's more fire going to happen. But if you fall in bad association, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, simply Kanti and Tilak may not be a sadhu. So what a person speaks, then you can know that, okay, it is sinking. Srila Gurudev said that what we need to do, I remember one time one devotee asked this question in Lambasa. Srila Gurudev was there. Some devotee said to Srila Gurudev that, Gurudev asked him, why you're not taking initiation? So he said, I'm only able to chant 1 round. Srila Gurudev said, chant 16 rounds. So he said to Gurudev, it's better to chant 1 quality round than 16 bad rounds. Srila Gurudev said, no. What you need now is 16 rounds.
prescribed?
Yes, that's prescribed. You need 16 rounds. So do 16 rounds. Even though it is not of quality, but what you need to do to start your spiritual life is to do 16 rounds. Then you work on the quality later. And then Shuddha Naam does not mean that you are chanting 16 rounds and now you should start chanting 25 rounds and your chanting will get better. Yes, Ramdapu.
Someone said, why eat a whole plate of food? Just take 1 bite and fill every day.
Yeah. So not necessarily that you do more and more and more chanting that your quality of chanting is improving. But if you are doing more and more and more of chanting, then gradually your understanding should start improving. And what do you mean your understanding is starting to improve? When your understanding starts to improve, you'll avoid the 10 offenses. So sometimes, even as new devotees, my personal advice to devotees is, please, Prabhupada has said, at least 16 rounds, just do 16. Read Prabhupada's books, that will make you better quality chanting.
What I'm thinking is, I'm doing 15, but I want to increase, but now I'm thinking what if I'm doing to now or no, and then increase 13. Like after you
So you, yeah.
But all one I don't think it's improvement.
No, but at the moment I would say it is a bit of a mixture of what you want to do and what the result of chanting 16 good rounds would be. When you chant 16 good rounds, then this thought will not come whether I want to increase my chanting or not. It will naturally increase. Naturally it will come. Like the example of Ganga Mata Goswamini, she's so much absorbed into the holy name that she has to bite her tongue between the teeth to stop it from chanting, when she's sitting in the Bhagavatam class. Otherwise the tongue keeps chanting. आप सबको समझ में आ रहा है? माता जी का जो क्वेश्चन है, अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, रेलेवेंट क्वेश्चन है. माता जी बोल रही है कि हम 16 राउंड चैन करता है, तो अब मुझे लगे कि हाँ ठीक है, मैं 10 नाम अपराध अवॉइड करता हूं और मेरा जप अच्छा है, और अब मैं सोच रही हूं कि इसको बढ़ाओ, इंक्रीज माय चैंटिंग, क्योंकि मेरा चैंटिंग अच्छा है तो मेरा क्वालिटी चैंटिंग होगा. अगर ऑफेंसिव चैंटिंग है तो आई एम गोइंग टू डू मोर ऑफेंसिव चैंटिंग. तो बोले मुझे लगता है कि मैं अच्छा जप कर रही हूं तो मैं इसको इंक्रीज करना चाहती हूं. तो अभी भी देखो, मैं ये पॉइंट ड्राइव करना चाहता हूं. जब आप अच्छा नाम जप करेंगे तो आपके अपन माइंड लगा के उसके इंक्रीज नहीं करें पड़ी. When you are absorbed in Krishna, your absorption will increase itself. When you are deciding कि अच्छा चैंटिंग चले है, अब हम इंक्रीज करें, तो देट मीन्स अभी अच्छा चैंटिंग नहीं चले. अभी भी हम लोग अपन माइंड से डिटरमिन करता है कि हमारा चैंटिंग अच्छा है कि नहीं अच्छा है, कि इंक्रीज करी कि कमती करी कि कौन सी करी. See, pure devotional service is state of the heart. जैसे कोई डिवोटी जब उसके भक्ति बढ़े लगे, तब वो इसे नहीं बोले कि ओ हमें लगे हमारा भक्ति बढ़ गए है, अब हम सेवा करे शुरू करें. कोई के भक्ति बढ़े तो अपने देखे आए हैं सेवा करे लगा, उसकी कोई बताए क्या हमने, प्रभु जी अब ये ला करो, प्रभु जी ये ला करो, प्रभु जी हमें लगे महासंग तुम्हारा भक्ति बहुत अच्छा है, अब सेवा में लग जाओ, एडवांसमेंट करो. इट विल कम नेचुरली. इट्स अ नेचुरल प्रोसेस. You get my point? You don't have to make a decision, okay, let me now increase. अभी भी हम लोग जब ऐसे खाली सोचता है कि हाँ ये इंक्रीज करी, तो that itself is a proof कि अभी हमें कौन सी करेक्ट पड़े, वैदिक भक्ति करेक्ट पड़े ना. वैदिक भक्ति because I chant my round 16 because my Guru Maharaj has said. Why I follow the 4 regulative means? Because हम promise करा है 4 regulative means को follow करेंगे. जब लव में हो जाएगा, जब शुद्ध नाम हो जाए, जब लव में हो जाए कृष्ण के संगे, तब तो हम लोग अपने से हमको अपने दिखा लेगी, ओ कृष्ण नीड्स दिस, दिस लीफ इज ड्राइंग, इट नीड्स टू बी चेंज. सॉरी, अभी हम लोग मटेरियल कैलकुलेशन करते हैं, तभी हम लोग सोचता है, अभी हम लोग सब चीज मटेरियली नापता है कि अगर इतना एडवांस हो जाएगा तो हम इतना करें. तभी हम लोग अभी इट्स नॉट बैड दो. अभी मैं सोचता है अभी हम इनिशिएटेड नहीं, तो हमारा गोल है कि हम इनिशिएटेड हो जाए. इनिशिएटेड हो गया तो हमारा गोल है कि हम सेकंड इनिशिएटेड हो जाए. सेकंड इनिशिएटेड हो गया तो हमारा गोल है कि हम टेम्पल के उल्टा में डीडी वर्शिप करे लेंगे. These small milestones is okay, but when you are talking about Shuddha Naam, then all these things are very natural. Shuddha Naam में pure love में कैसे यशोदा मैया के कोई मैटर करे कि कृष्णा सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉड हेड, ही इज द सोर्स ऑफ ऑल इनकारनेशंस, एवरीथिंग इज एमिनेटिंग फ्रॉम हिम. यशोदा मैया कोई मैटर नहीं करे. यशोदा मैया knows, I'm just in love with my Krishna. Like that.
नहीं, मतलब क्या है?
Hare Krishna Mantra Prabhupada explains, na? Hare Krishna Mantra is, oh Lord, oh energy of the Lord, oh Lord, please engage me in your service. In your service. Service मतलब love. तो दोनों अभी हम लोग स्टेज पे है कि हम लोग के प्रेमा नहीं है ना, तो हम लोग इसे बोले अच्छा ठीक है, हम अपन सर्विस आज उल्टा के सर्विस हमारे. So I am following by rule. I have made a promise, As Siddhanta Prabhu comes here every evening to do things, na? So he's making spiritual progress. So for now, it may not be out of love. But now he knows that this is my evening service I have to do. That's why I said to Sumukha, Sumukha goes morning and evening. I don't know whether he's doing it out of love or, he's made a choice to do this because, I find this helping me progress spiritually. So that's...
कल आप बोला कि भगवान से मांगो, भगवान से प्रे, फिर I don't ask you, whatever is for me करते हैं, आप बोले कि तो आप ठीक, तो अगर हम भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हमारा काम प्रार्थना करते हैं, लेकिन दिल में इरादा नहीं, दिल से तो नहीं बनता हटाए, तो बनता काम करो।
जब दिल से नहीं रही हटावे के, मांगो। कृष्ण बोले अकाम सर्व काम वा मोक्ष काम उदारदी ना। राम साहब को बताइए अभी आपके, राम साहब एक डिवोटी में बताता है, राम साहब डिवोटी बताए लेकिन when you go before Krishna, just ask him. Spiritually material कुछ भी है, मांगो कृष्ण से। जब कृष्ण मांगे नहीं तब तो कृष्ण सुनी। तो आप बोलता है कि भगवान से हम बोलता है कि I just want to follow in what great devotees have done. So Chaitanya Chaitanya say, we want नाम रुचि वैष्णव काम क्रोध हृदय मन मतलब मत्सर्य हृदय से निकल जाए और हम लोग के मिले नाम रुचि वैष्णव सेवा। तो ये हम लोग के मिले हम लोगों के। तो आप बोलता है कि हम भगवान से प्रे करेगा, ठीक है, बिकॉज आप क्लास में सुन लिया हम बताया तो तुम प्रे करे लगेगा और तुम्हारे हार्ट में नहीं है, तुम नहीं मनता है। हाँ ठीक है। हाँ कृष्णा के कभी कभी ऐसे भी रहे, भगवान से खिलवाड़ भी करे तभी भगवान पूरा कर दे। बट अगर तुम्हारे हार्ट में नहीं है निकले के तो वो भी उसके भी प्रैक्टिकल सिचुएशन तुम्हारी वही बात कि आज तुम क्लास में सुना है तो आज आके भगवान से प्रे कर दिया, अब तुम्हारे हार्ट में नहीं है निकाले के तो बयान थोड़ा याद रही। यू कांट से ऐसा नहीं है कि हम सुपरफिशियली भगवान के बोलेगा और हार्ट में उतरेगी। भगवान कैसे हाउ विल यू वर्क इट आउट, हमें तो नहीं समझ में कैसे वर्कआउट करेगा। भगवान हमारे हृदय से साइमल्टेनियसली हमारे हार्ट में प्रेयर चले, भगवान नहीं निकला, नहीं मतलब छोड़े, नहीं मतलब यू कैन डू इट। ऐसे कैसे भाई भगवान हमारे हाथ से निकल जाए, एक सेकंड वॉइस बोली नहीं निकले, इट डजंट वर्क दैट। तबे से कंटेमिनेशन होए पे भी अगर भगवान से तबे अकाम सर्व काम वा। If you have many desires, if you don't have desires, or moksha kamati, whatever it is, yajata purushottam, just go and talk to Krishna. So Krishna, I'm very much attached to these things and I can't be with, I can't, I cannot get along with this devotee. I won't talk to him. But then you're saying, Krishna, please, हमारे हृदय से काम करो, मत बोलो, मत से निकालो। But हृदय में पले कि हम ये devotee नहीं बात करें, हम तो आगे में इस बात करेगा ही नहीं, not in this lifetime. But you keep praying to Krishna, then Krishna will change your heart. Because then Krishna knows you are बोलते Krishna says no. फिर अपने die out भेजिए। ऐसे नहीं सोचो, don't take it so negatively. But pray करो, prayers are very powerful. नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर के पूरा book ही प्रार्थना is prayers. Prayers are very powerful. Just talk to Krishna, talk to anyone. When you talk to someone, then you become friends. When you talk to someone, then you can get favors. So likewise, you have to talk to Krishna. You have to talk. Yesterday we said this point, na? Every day wake up, talk to your spiritual master. Go stand before him. Go and stand before Prabhupada's picture and talk to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, please be merciful. Please empower me in some way so that I can distribute one book today. I can speak Krishna conscious too. So you have to talk to then Prabhupada. Talking correct पड़ी। परीक्षित महाराज talking नहीं करता, सुखदेव गोस्वामी थोड़े बोलते रहता 7 रोज के लिए। शिव लॉर्ड शिवा भी तो पार्वती माता को बोले कि अगर टॉकिंग नहीं करना तो हुकारी भरना। So that has to happen. Prayers are both powerful. The thing is, हम devotees लोग and we don't pray. I remember when we joined Krishna consciousness, a very strong form of prayer that we all learned was all the Vaishnava songs. Now I see, everyone just looks at the mobile phones to. Before devotees used to know how many Vaishnava songs do we know by heart. Don't raise your hand, don't say anything, but in your heart, just answer the question. कितना Vaishnava songs जानता है हम लोग by heart? जो पहले से अब भी किसी का नवा नहीं। Okay.
अच्छा, जब विष्णु महाराज की समझ में नहीं नहीं हरा करके कृष्ण का गए इसके लिए तब कृष्ण के लिए किसान दूसरे हम जाओ उससे राजा राज मुझे धर्मराज तो तब इसको कृष्ण हमसे एक्सप्लेन करके ये एक प्रमाण नॉर्मल बॉडी मानना अभी वो पेट मान मेरा बांध तो पेट मत ऊपर भगवान हम सकता जिनके समझाया तो कृष्ण के बॉडी को टच आचार्य बॉडी टच करे पेट तब हरे कृष्ण के टच से बॉडी को पेट टच फिर इधर गोवर्धन लीला गोवर्धन के भगवान उठाए कहानी को नीले के कहानी और ऊपर से इंद्र बरसावे है पिलर्स
मूसलाधार बारिश
पिलर रेन मतलब इतना बड़ा पीला तो तुम पर गिर पड़ जाए और गोवर्धन पूरा पर्वत है और उसके ऊपर पिलर सब रेन मारे कौन मारे
इंद्र
लेकिन गोवर्धन हिंदुस्तान पेंट है उसके और लगे उसके पेंट लेकिन पेंटिंग नहीं करेंगे तो उर्मिला माता जी जैसा बता रहे क्योंकि कृष्णा उससे बुरी से टच करे जैसे पिता से टच करी कृष्णा उसके पेंट लगे वही रखा गोवर्धन के टच के कृष्णा तो उसके पेंट टच करता है
In both the situations, पितामह भीष्म और गोवर्धन दोनों के सरेंडर और प्रेयर है टू भगवान। हम लोगन का करे जाए के डीटी वर्शिप करता है या तो हम जाके डीटी के ड्रेस करता है, सब चीज करता है बिकॉज जैसे आप पहले भी बोला रहा और इससे पहले वाला क्वेश्चन में भी आप एड्रेस कर रहा, हम लोग एड्रेस कर रहा प्रेयर, वी शुड हैव द डिजायर। तो पितामह भीष्म कौन सी करे कृष्ण के बोले कि हम पेन रिलीफ करो ना। हाँ, गोवर्धन के केस में प्रीवियस युग में जब गोवर्धन के लेके जाता रहा फिर बोले कि न the pull is done, therefore just put it where you are. Then Giriraj start crying. So when you go to worship the deities, when you are touching the deities, these deities reciprocate to the bhava. Otherwise, it is simply wood, simply marble, simply metal. So yes, as you surrender. So if you think, my goal is, just to become, get the Gayatri Mantra and, go on the altar, when the temple is full, Kirtan is going on Janmashtami, I'll be doing the Aarti. The contamination will still remain. Yes, Ramnath.
तो आगे चला जाए उसे पता नहीं चीज है उसे कहाँ गायब हुई है करते आए इसलिए मम्मी बैठा रहा तो बोले जोर से जोर मंडल पानी में बोले बोले हम बड़ा बोले हम सब पी गया तो एक मुनि है इसके पास इतना पावर है पूरा गंगा तब गोवर्धन तो साक्षात वैष्णव तत्व है इंद्रा का इतना पानी गिरा कर उन्होंने आपने पी ले दर्शन चक्र होगा कोई जरूरत नहीं।
So we have to, Prabhupada ji भी लिखे है बोले when we get an opportunity to serve the deities, it's a very special opportunity. I remember Krishna Maharaj once said to me, he said, every time you get an opportunity to go on the altar, put your head on the Krishna's Golok Bihari's feet. It's a very special moment. It's not a task, it's Actually, people who go on the altar, the qualification to go on the altar is, basically when you love Krishna. But हम लोग तो love है नहीं Krishna का. So the only reason I am going on the altar is because I have faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada that by touching the deities, my heart will be purified. And Prabhupada says, especially the grihastha, every grihastha should take an opportunity to worship the deities. तब ऐसे सब devotee लोगन के मांगो one worship once a week, कुछ नहीं तो connect to the temple and do. Just like हम लोग यहाँ पे setup करा, so once a week एक कोई मंगलारती करे, कोई कैसे, that it helps us purify. That helps us make discipline in our life. तो हम लोग हो जाएगा सुमुखा, but the thing is कि we also continuously commit offenses ना, तो हम लोग क्यों भी protect करें फिर अपना. जय प्रभु.
Then first you will rise above the body concept of life.
हाँ.
तब उसके बाद
हाँ.
और ये आप लोग डिस्कस करने पूरा कि नारद मुनि ने क्या किया तो हम लोगों के लाइफ में तो मेल करते हैं. ये लाइफ में हम लोग न्यूट्रिशन मिले, हम लोग के संग में when the next life comes, तो इसके बारे में जो जानकारी है कि हमारी बोधा कैसे ऊपर होती है, तो क्या किया. हाँ, ये जन्म में तुमने क्या किया कि
नेक्स्ट लाइफ में तुम्हारा डिसाइपल पूछेगी लास्ट लाइफ में तुम कौन सी करा रहा.
बताना कि वो लोग क्वेश्चन करते.
Hare Krishna. Okay, it's 8:15. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I know you all have an evening program. लेकिन जरा प्रभु invitation भेजे थे, जरा प्रभु कार्तिक के निमित्त मंत्रा feast करे. So it's done that feast today at Radha Golok Bihari. So everyone is invited. Please, if you can lunch program. He's done Kartik Vrat and he says, we should feed the Vaishnavas. So please do come and bless us. Hare Krishna.